So in this video, I'm gonna talk about like a few CAD techniques I need to use when creating my final solution for this project. And when like designing, and any that you could use when designing a three-dimensional design on a CAD program. So first off, I'm gonna open a new window on Google Chrome and go on tinkercad.com. You could use Google Chrome or Safari or any web browser you'd like. So first you'd have to be logged in. Start with what we're doing now. And from there, you press on create new design. So I'll just wait there. Okay. So first thing I'm gonna talk about is how, like, if I were, this is my work plane. If I were to have a design right here and I need to look at it from different angles, how I would be able to do that. So if you wanted to look at your design, either have like a closer or further view, you could like zoom in or zoom out here, or you could do the same thing you do when going up or down in a window. And if you want to move around, you have the arrows here on the top left corner that you could use. Or if you don't feel comfortable with these arrows, you could press on the secondary click of your mouse or trackpad and then just drag your thingy and move around. So going from there, now the second CAD technique I'm going to talk about is how to add shapes for you to start with your design. Like for me when I do my solution. So here I have a lot of shapes I could use. So there's like these are shapes made by other people. And here I don't know what these are. And here are just basic boxes and cylinders and like just the basic geometric shapes. And these we'll talk about later. And here are just like geometric letters, 3D letters, sorry. And here are numbers, and here are just some weird symbols, and here's some extra shapes that you could use. So I'll start with geometric just to give you an example. So if you want to add a shape, what you'd want to do is click on the shape and then drag it down to your workplace, and that's how you have a shape. So the third technique I'm going to show you is how to change the dimensions of your shape. So when you add a shape, you'll see that they'll have like small white squares on them. It just depends how many they have, depends like on what the shape is. So for example, this box has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 2 for length and 2 for width and 1 for height. But for example, if I were to add a sphere, it would only have 2. Oh, sorry, never mind. They all have 5. Because since it's 3-dimensional, you're going to have for length, width, and height. So if I want to change the length, I would just press on one of these that are in the bottom, and I'd click on it and then drag, and that's how I make it longer or shorter. If I want to make it wider or thinner, I can just do the same, but in the different direction. And then for height, I could just hold on to the one on the top, make it taller or shorter. So that was my third technique, CAD technique I was introducing. And the fourth CAD technique I'm going to show you is how to move around the shape. So if you're not comfortable with having the shape here, you want to have it closer to you, even though you can zoom in and out, but you want to change it, you could just press on the shape and drag it to whichever direction you want to change it to. So if I were to change this to and put it on the left side of my workplace, I just press, like, click on it, and then I drag it to the right. And if you want to change the degree of it, so you want to make this shape, let's say we had a shape that looks like this. Wait, sorry about that. A shape that looks like this, and I wanted to make it horizontal. You have like these bended arrows that help you change the degree. So this one is for changing it from horizontal to vertical, and this one is like changing the direction of it. So, and this one is also horizontal and vertical. And then if you wanna like you wanna make your shape float, you wanna move it up, you can't use the height. And and if you want to move your shape to the right or left, you could also use your key arrows. If you don't want to click on it and drag it, you could use the right and the left and the front and the back and the key arrows. And the front and the back arrows you can't use for making your shape go up. So if you want to make your shape go up and float, the only way you could be able to do that is if you press on this little black arrow, and then you click on it, and then you drag it up or you drag it down, depending on how much you want your shape to float off the ground. So that was my fourth CAD technique to show you. And then my fifth CAD technique is how to merge shapes together. So if I wanted to have like, let's say I want to have a round roof on this design, I just, like as mentioned before, I drag it and then I could change degree, make it horizontal, and then I'd look at the width, change the width the same, 9, there we go. And then this is 31 plus 15, 46. Okay, so I moved it 46 millimeters up, and then I would just drag it and put it here. So right now, like, they're basically merged, but if, like, not exactly, because if I wanted to move them, they wouldn't move together. So if you wanted to, like, merge them and make them be merged, like, connected together, so whatever you do to one, you do to the other, after you merge them together, make sure they're, like, actually merged into each other and, like, stick into each other. What you'd have to do is you select both of them by either just pressing somewhere on your screen, somewhere where there's no shapes, and you drag down so you select both of the shapes at the same time. Or if you have like small shapes, if you were in the case where you had small shapes and you couldn't do that, you wanted to skip, you could just press on shift, and while pressing on shift, you'd like click on each shape to make sure they're both selected, or how many you have, and then you'd press on group, and that's how you have them become together. And if you don't want the color of them to be the same, if you want it to just be normal one that you had before merging them or grouping them, you would have to press on color and then click on multicolor to make sure they preserve their original colors. So now if I were to like move this shape around, both of them would move together because they're already made into one shape. And now the sixth technique I'm going to talk about is how to make a hole in shapes in CAD, like using CAD. So what you have to do is you drag a shape in, as I've been talking about for like the past few minutes, and then I change the dimension however I want. So let's say I wanted to make like a circle, like I want to make a circle hole in this shape. So I just like do the same I would do if I were to merge the shape, except that this time I'd press on my cylinder, and then I'd go to the inspector, which is usually on the top left, top right corner, and then I'd press on hole. And so I have a cylinder hole, so which should make our shape have a round hole. And after that, it's like this isn't complete yet because you have a hole in there, but it's not like part of your, it's like a separated shape, you know? It's not part of your shape, so it's not like a hole inserted in your shape. So if I were to move the shape, the hole doesn't stay. So what I'd have to do is, as mentioned before, I'd have to select all of them, and then I press on group, and there you go, you have a hole in your shape. So those were my 6 CAD techniques I'd use when creating my solution. And the 7th CAD technique I'm gonna introduce, like talk about, is how to change the colors of your shapes. I should have mentioned this before, but I forgot. Okay, but so how to change the color of the shapes, because I'm gonna need this when creating my solution. Therefore, my solution, like part of the required specifications, is for it to be multicolored. So what you'd need to do is, so us, like, we have a multicolored shape, right? But that's because it was those were the original colors. We didn't really change a color. So if I want to change the color, what I'd do is I'd press on my shape, and then I'd go to the inspector, which is on the top right corner, and then I'd click on here where it says the color, and I'd choose whichever color I'd like and click on it, and there we go. That's how I change the color of my shape. So those are my 7 CAD techniques when creating my final CAD solution. Thank you for watching.